Looks like we are live. Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Wellness. What is today? It's only
Monday.
Happy Monday. It's not even Wednesday. I'm so used to doing these on Wednesday. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Brittany. I am the owner of Fresh and Fit Nutrition. I'm a holistic nutritionist and one of the admins of this group. I am here with Chris.
How you doing? Good to be here.
And we are super excited to bring you someone that I recently connected with. His name is Peter, and he has developed an app called Healthy You that can help you track what the foods that you eat and how they make you feel, which is really cool because we often talk about, really being able to listen to your body and hone in and understand like how different foods affect you, affect your mood, affect your digestion and things like that. So if you're here with us live, say hello, give us a hashtag live. Let's get us going in the algorithm, and I will leave it to you, Peter. Hi, thank you so much for being here.
Hello. Yeah, thank you. This is pretty exciting. So very happy to be live and in my first public appearance here. So pretty cool.
Cool.
You're going to do great. So tell us, Peter, I know you kind of gave me a little bit of backstory about why you developed this app. So just give us a little bit of that history and tell us how you came from this tech guy to your own personal health issues and what led to Healthy You.
Yeah, definitely. So I am, a tech guy. I've been in IT for my entire career, and everything was going great until a few years ago. I had some really terrible digestive issues, just a ton of pain. I was missing work, missing outings with friends, things like that. Just really pretty bad issues that in a way it was almost embarrassing to tell people about, and so they were kind of wondering what's wrong with you. So as I kind of started talking to my doctor and going through that whole process with him, I just learned a ton about how inefficient that whole process is. So I went in and, of course, I saw my general doctor first, and then they recommended me somewhere, and then they recommended me somewhere else. And they recommended me different diets, medicines, procedures, all these different things that I just kept doing, and none of it was helping. And so I went in and I started doing a lot of research myself, trying to figure out what was going on. And I got a lot of help from the community out there that we're also dealing with the same problem. It seemed like the same set of, events that I went through with my doctors was the same set of events that everybody was going through. So I learned a ton there and really ended up diagnosing myself and found out I actually had a sensitivity to fiber, which is pretty rare. Nobody had ever told me about that. And there was a special diet called the low residue diet that is a low fiber diet that you can do during periods of kind of having issues. And that has really solved a lot of my problems. And I also learned about, HIIT exercise, which also reduces inflammation. And I put that into my routine, and that really helped. And so that's where Healthy You was born, really, was all of these things that I learned, all of these tools that I wish that I had when I was learning all of this stuff. I kind of took all of that and put it into an app so other people could use it.
That is really awesome. Unfortunately, your story is the story of so many people, and in Western medicine, they just don't get the answers. They're either told that nothing's wrong with them, they can't find something wrong with them, they're given prescriptions, they're, made to do these invasive procedures that really don't even find the root cause of their issue. So that is absolutely amazing that despite, having to go through all that, but through that journey that you went through, that you were able to develop this. So tell us a little more about the app and kind of how it works and how people can utilize that.
Yeah, so right now it's available as a mobile app. You can get it on iOS or Android. Easiest way to find it is healthyuapp.com. There's another Healthy You out there that's, we won't talk about them, but so you can get it on your mobile phone, and really what we allow is you essentially just track everything that you eat. So whether it's a pre-packaged food or it's something that you cooked, whatever it is, you can find it in our app and you can track that you ate it. Once you eat it, you can track symptoms against those foods. So let's say you immediately get an upset stomach, and you know that that food caused it. You can log your symptom against that food. Or if you have a symptom maybe a few hours later and you're not sure if it was that food, you can just log a symptom in the app and we'll track it. And then over time, as you start to add more things, we start to recognize like ingredients that you maybe having issues with. So if you track another food that has that kind of ingredient, we'll flag that in the product details and say, hey, you have had issues with this ingredient before, be careful. So that's kind of the main idea of the app, and a lot of reporting around that, all the data behind the foods that we have there, try to surface things to you like, a lot of the foods that you're eating are keto friendly, let's say, and you don't have issues when they're keto. So maybe you want to try having foods off of this diet or whatever. So we have, I forget how many diets we have in there. We're trying to add more, but there's a number of diets in there that will track and try to tell you if your foods fit in those, as well as brands. You may have some bread from one brand that doesn't affect you, but this other brand is always fine, and we'll try to call that out as well for you. And that's been like the main thing. After that, we have like this open development model. So we asked our users what they wanted, and we added things in, like we now have a recipe generator. So if you want to get ideas for food, you can look up, let's say you want to make tacos, you can look up a taco, and we will take into account the ingredients you've had issues with and suggest you a safe, hopefully, can't guarantee, but hopefully safe taco that you could make at home. And yeah, that's what the app does now.
That is really
Amazing.
cool, really interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
That's amazing. It is something that Brittany, you and I talk about almost every talk we do, as far as listening to your body and how you feel after you eat certain foods and see what kind of reaction we get. So it's very appropriate to what we do in the group and what we emphasize most often, because it's, as we've said, heard before, our body is our first doctor. So if we feel off after eating a certain food, or if we feel really good afterwards, it's a sign that something's working really well, or something's not working as well. So this is really an amazing app.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is so beneficial because sometimes, I try to get most of my clients, food allergy tested and GA-MAP tested so we can really get to the issue, but not everybody, can afford that. And so we do like some food journaling, right, to try to figure out those triggers. And I find that that's really hard for people to keep up with. They tend to not want to do it. But this is great because everybody's always on their phones. Everybody is, constantly using their phone. So it's really easy just to be able to like have this app, have it accessible wherever you go, instead of like being at work all day and then coming home trying to remember or different things like that. Like this is just a really cool tool to be able to, track that, these foods, how they're affecting me, how they're making my body feel. And I think that is super important because we do always, talk about that in the group. We have to learn to listen to our bodies. They are very smart. They will tell us, they will tell us when we are messing up. So you mentioned to me that, the kind of the missing piece was this, right? Because you're a tech guy, not a health guy.
Yep.
And this app collects a lot of data, but that was kind of leaving like the everyday person maybe like a little behind and not understanding fully what to do with this data. So what are your plans for the app now?
Yeah, just exactly like you said there. As we were collecting this, we kind of were getting feedback from our users, like, how do I use this data? And try to help people based off of what my experience was. And that definitely helped some people, but it was like, okay, I'm not a health professional. I shouldn't be doing this. So it became very clear that what we could do is try to bring in people's health professionals and allow them to see their data as well. So I think one thing that we had heard a lot about is just like what you mentioned there, is like some sort of journaling that you would typically need to do with your doctor. That would be like pen and paper or something like that. And a lot of details would get left out. And that just made it harder for professionals to kind of help their clients. So that's what we've decided to add on now. And what we're working on now is we call it the provider portal. And essentially you can invite your provider if they're not on the app, or if your provider is on the app, they can invite you to share your data, and they'll get access to all the data that you allow them to have access to. So what foods you're eating, the symptoms you had, and things like that. So a lot of things we show in the app are things that the everyday person will understand, but we also collect information about like food additives and things like that that you may not so much want to see as a consumer, but a professional may want to see that. So we'll be able to surface that data as well, so we can really try to get to the bottom of the issues.
That is super awesome. So in terms of rolling out this, you're kind of in the beta phase. What are you looking for to help you test out this app and get this all situated?
Yeah, so I'm looking for any health professional that really wants to try adding a technology into their business that they can use with their clients to see if they can help diagnose issues. Really, our mission is make people feel better faster. I know for me it was a long journey, and it definitely, I wish it would have been shorter. So that's our main goal, is to make people feel better faster. So we're looking for people that want to get a hold of this kind of tool to be able to see this reporting, and then also are open to how we develop things. So we consider ourselves open development. I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but to go in more depth, we are building out a base set of features. And then after that, we source our features from our users. So we'll get feature requests from our users. We'll put out polls to see which features are the most important, which ones people have in common that they want, and those are the ones that we're going to build. And if there's no commonality there, we'll figure out some way to just build them all. We'll get through all of them eventually. But that's what we do. So we're looking for people that really just need this data collection tool, and also have ideas for other things that they might need to improve their business that we can put in the product for them.
Awesome. We got a good question here from Jordan. Does the app take HIPAA into account?
It does. Yes, that's a pretty neat thing. Actually, it's something I was super excited about. We just partnered with a company called Breda, and they monitor all of our infrastructure, all of our software automatically, and keep us honest to make sure we're HIPAA compliant. So if we do something wrong, they alert us right away. And so it's pretty neat. I was pretty excited about it. I don't know if my partner was excited as me, but it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I have a question, if you don't mind me asking, from a practitioner perspective, and say one of my clients uses it, and Joe Smith just filled out their form for lunch. Will I get an alert saying Joe Smith just filled out their lunch, and then would I get an alert saying this is what they had, this is how they felt? Like how does that kind of work from a practitioner perspective of seeing the client's experiences?
That's a great question and a great idea. So right now we essentially give you, when you land into your dashboard, you'll see a list of all of your clients that you can kind of go through, and you can see their reports they are updated real time. So as soon as they track something, you'll see that they track something. So if you're in there looking through it, you'll be able to find it. We also have a messaging system. So if you notice that they're not tracking suddenly for a couple of days, you can message them in there and tell them, hey, start tracking. Of course, you can message them any other way as well, but we've got that in there to try to alert them as well. But that is definitely a good suggestion, and something that I am going to take note of to add in there.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, kind of seeing that. But yeah, I know we talked about, you log into the dashboard and you're able to see everything, and that's a really great idea. Ellie says this is incredible. This will be amazing to use, especially when I become a nutritionist. And then she asked, how much would the cost be for the app, or will this be paid by paid ads, etc.?
Yeah, so we are right now in the beta. We're offering free usage for the beta. So if you're interested in joining that, definitely contact me. And our pricing, not yet super settled. Essentially, it's going to be a per client type of pricing, and our goal is to make it as cheap as possible. We really, like I said, we have this mission of making people feel better faster. So our goal is to make enough to pay for the software and the stuff that it runs on, and that's about it. So Yeah, we're not quite there yet, but it will be like per active client. And if you sign up for the beta, we definitely are going to have some good deals for our beta users.
Cool.
Awesome.
I think it's really great. Wait, I apologize for stepping on that. I think it's really great. We're concentrating on the emotional aspect of it and how I feel afterwards. I remember back in college and taking health classes, or high school too. They say, well, okay, write down what you ate for lunch, dinner for like a week straight. To me, that's cool, but that's only half the equation. It doesn't mean much until you can actually put an emotion behind it.
Yeah.
And you can recognize I felt really good when I had this greens and protein and healthy fats, or I felt really bad or not so good when I ate this other food. So just knowing what you eat versus actually realizing the emotional aspect of it, I think is taking it to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. That is actually, it's a feature we added. So we started with just food tracking, and then we added in activity because that was something that I had needed. And then mood wasn't really even something I had thought of before, but we had users that said, hey, this actually has affected me as well. So we added in the ability to track your feeling at that time too. So, and that's been pretty helpful as well. I've learned a lot of stuff through this. I when I started it, I really just thought of like digestive issues, like stomach pains and things like that. But the more I learned, I saw like the connection with digestive issues and anxiety and things like that. And it's like, it's amazing how many things this can branch into, and we're trying to cover as many of them as we can, really.
That is super awesome. Megan says, great mission. Ellie asked, how do we contact you? Ellie, I will be putting all his contact information in the thread here, and I'll be tagging him in the post as well. Do you want people to like go to the website, Peter? Would you prefer they reach out to you on Facebook?
Either way, whatever is easiest. Works
Well,
for me.
I'll get all the links that you want to include in here for everything, and I'll make sure to get them all in the comments so that if anyone wants to reach out to Peter, learn more about this beta program, see whether this is a good fit for your business, we will absolutely make sure you guys have that available. I'm excited to get to start using this program myself. Oh, another good question from Ellie. Will this have like vitamins and stuff, things like that on there?
It does, yeah. So we have right now anything that we can source from USDA, which is not as many items as it feels like it should be, as well as another external source. But we are constantly adding more data sources, and then we also add the ability for users to add. So if it's missing in our database, they can add it themselves, and we can track against that as well. So I will say one thing that we know is an issue that we need to work on is that right now we're just tracking, let's say you eat a taco, we track that you had a taco, not that you had 3 tacos. So that's definitely something that we're adding in as well. That's been a request already, and so something that we're working on now. So
that's awesome. I really just love how you have taken the feedback that you've gotten so far and just really, tried to make this super user friendly and have all these additional tools, even though like when you started, you were just focusing on the issues that you were currently having, but now it's branched and grown, and I'm excited to see what this is going to look like a year from now, 5 years from now, like how amazing this technology could be and how helpful this could be to so many people who are struggling with these issues. This is great.
yeah, definitely. I don't know. I didn't know what we were going to have when we started, but it just keeps expanding every day. So I'm very interested to see what it looks like as well, I guess.
That's awesome. I think a lot of us in this group who are practitioners, who are coaches, different things like that, we all started because of our own journey. Like Chris had issues with gluten and his mood, and that led him down a path to become a certified holistic health coach, helping people get off gluten, helping them repair the relationship between food and mood. I had my own gut health issues, and so that's why I work on gut health and autoimmunity now. So it's amazing what our pain can like become, right? Like, and then we can help so many other people, and I just think it's so great what you're doing, and this app is incredible, and I'm excited to for this beta to roll out so that I can start using it with a few of my clients. I know that there's a few right now that I definitely want to get this going with. So definitely excited there.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. I guess in that vein, we are. My dogs are now also barking.
Yeah.
But yeah, in that vein, we're hoping to launch the beta next month. So we're still on track for that, and things are looking pretty good. So yeah, I'm excited about it. It looks, in any case, it looks nice. So that's pretty cool. In my opinion, anyways. But yeah, so
Awesome.
definitely have more to go.
Ellie's got some great questions. She talked about essential oils. Maybe that's something eventually. And then she says, will you have a spare area where you can add test reports like inflammation levels, etc.?
That is a good question. We have thought about that. We've created this kind of secure storage that we use just for the messaging. But if that, we've thought about those type of attachment type of things. So if that is something that folks need, we can definitely get that added in and not be too much work. We've actually built the whole backend system for that, kind of anticipating that was going to be a request, and hearing that's a request, I feel happy. So
Yeah, I think that could be, definitely beneficial and maybe even easier, as it grows and stuff, like where practitioners could kind of host a lot of their business, on this app, right? And with this dashboard, and you can have, the foods and your client feedback and everything, and then also have, lab tests and different things like that. That's definitely a cool idea, and glad to hear that you've already kind of started building that, so it's not going to be this whole big thing when when people request it. Rivka says, would love to know more. How can I find out more? I will be posting all of his information in the comments, and I'll be tagging him in the video too, so you can reach out to him on Facebook. You can go to the website. As soon as this is over, I will make sure to put all of that in there. Ellie has another question. Also, will there be a place to add pictures? Say you have a reaction on the skin. Can you add pictures?
that's a good question.
You're taking notes. Hey, this is valuable for you, right?
Notes, yeah, yeah, that's definitely something we could add in if it's again, like I said, we take these requests and we throw them out and see which ones are needed the most, and we work them in order that way. So we had, in a similar vein to that, I've heard people need just pictures even of the food that they're eating, and so we have that in the backlog as well. So
cool. Yeah, I think that's yeah, that could be definitely a good add-on as well. Ellie, I hope that you are gonna be a beta tester, because I think you could be really valuable to Peter here with some info and some feedback, even some stuff that like I hadn't thought of. Great questions, Ellie. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, Peter, anything else you want to share, add?
Yeah, and I guess just the main thing is, if you are not a health professional and you need help, you can use the app now. And I'll definitely, if you reach out to me, I'll keep in touch and give you our weekly updates on where we are, and set up some time to speak with you as well. And I really appreciate having me on here. It's been pretty fun, and I'm really hoping to learn from everybody. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Glad you're a part of the group now. She said, sorry, asking so many. She's excited. I think it was super valuable, Ellie. I'm so glad. And she says, definitely 100%. I would love to be a tester. So I really appreciate you showing up, Ellie, and asking all those amazing questions, because that's exactly why I wanted to bring Peter in the group, because I know that we have so many practitioners that I think could benefit from this, and that could also help him, get all the things that are needed and through this beta testing process, and really make this app something so valuable for so many people, and just help them with their digestion and help them with all their issues.
yeah, definitely appreciate all the questions. That's exactly what we need. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Peter, for just being here with us. And like I said, everyone, I will be posting all of his links in the comments for everything. If you're just an everyday person and you want to check out the app, it is on the iOS and Play Store, so you can go download that. Healthy You, there's a heart in between the H and the Y, and if you look at Peter's shirt, you can kind of see that's what the app looks like on. So you know you got the right one, because we're not talking about the other one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. If you're on the replay and you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. We will be checking this out. Again, like I said, I will be dropping all of Peter's info in here for you guys to reach out to him and contact him. And thank you all so very much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.